Alright folks, hello and welcome to another Minecraft video. My name is Leader Grev. This video is going to be a tiny bit different. I'm going to be actually voicing over. I didn't record while I was playing because I sort of got caught up in the moment and I was having fun. Couldn't really get my thoughts out. So the footage is really good in my opinion. There's a lot of combat. So it should be pretty cool. Next episode I'm going to try to get a reed farm out. I know I promised that in I think the last episode, but I'm going to have a reed farm soon for you guys, so don't worry about that. Moreover, quickly before I start, Jonathan Wolf 038 on his channel is giving away the Humble Indie Bundle. So, you should definitely go over to his channel, show him some support, otherwise he's a pretty good commentator. So, check him out. Definitely worth taking a look at, just for the commentary. And now you've sort of got an incentive other than it's just a good commentator, so don't just listen to me, just go to his channel, check out his stuff. He's doing a bunch of different games, lots of Nintendo stuff on there, and some games that you wouldn't commonly see, such as new James Bond games and such. Good commentary, good channel, go check it out, link is in the description. Anyhow, what I want to talk about today is the college admissions process, which sort of prompted me to reflect on my last 4 years of life. And I know a lot of you guys have been asking, like, who are you, Grev? Who are you? Tell us more about you. We listen to your commentary, but we don't know who you are. And so I thought this would be an appropriate video to sort of get into that and to thank some people, because I know I thank people in lots of videos. I do that all the time, but I felt like this was an appropriate video. Anyhow, I was sitting with my girlfriend yesterday. She came over at like 4:40 to sit with me and wait for a letter from a university. Or not really a letter, but the dean's letter, I guess it would be available online, from Yale University in Connecticut. It was my top choice of schools. It's a damn good school, and I wanted to go there. I had sent in my application early, hoping that I would get in. I wasn't entirely sure, and in conversation when talking to teachers, I'd be modest, and I'd be like, I'm probably not going to get in. When people would ask me where I was applying, I always felt a bit embarrassed, because it's often like, it's like the feeling of the opposite of modesty, of like you're trying to brag, and it was never like that, because I knew that my chances weren't fantastic to get in. But anyhow, I'd applied, and at 4:49-ish, my girlfriend's like, let's go downstairs and let's go check your computer and see what's going on. Let's see if you've gotten the letter. And for 10 minutes, we refreshed the page and such, and finally it went up, and I got the letter, and I looked, and I didn't even start reading it at first. I just skimmed through it looking for a big red rejection, or whatever the color for deferral would be, or a big green accepted, because that's sort of like the stereotypical idea of what you get in a letter like that. And I saw none of that, but I saw the "we regret to inform you" part and all of that, and I was rejected. Which at the immediate time, I was kind of alright with that. I can't say I was alright with that. I was upset because I had to talk to my parents. They called. My grandma called. Friends of mine were trying to reach me. But other friends of mine were distracting me and keeping me sort of occupied with other thoughts and other things. But later during the night, when I didn't have access to friends and I didn't go to school this morning, I sort of like the idea kept festering in my head, and I was very much occupied with it, and I got really angry. And I decided, I didn't even decide, I sort of started reflecting on the past 4 years on my high school career, thinking about what had gone down, because it felt very anticlimactic to me to be rejected. I knew that my chances were slim, but at the same time I had sort of this hope that I could get in. And so not getting in really, it was a kick to the nuts. And so I was thinking, and my freshman year in high school was a ridiculous mess. Some classes I shouldn't have done well in, I basically used the system to do well in. I know math in particular, I'm terrible at math, but I was using like every extra credit opportunity possible. Like even if it wasn't legitimate math extra credit, I would use it to get my grade up. And in other classes I would read and not pay attention and such, and I was just doing poorly, and my parents and my sister had to basically lobby the principal to have me put into advanced classes. Advanced not in the sense of like like special ed classes, advanced in the sense of like AP and honors classes, because my grades did not live up to the expectations. And then sophomore year, two of my friends, who would later become pretty much some of my closest friends, we started a friendly competition that it had been discussed in passing freshman year, and then sophomore year I had decided, you know what, I gotta step up my game. So we started this competition, and that's when I really got on the right track. And I started moving forwards, and I started progressing, and I was really working vehemently. And I don't know if it was the competition itself that really drove me to do it. I kind of, to an extent in my heart, I hope that it wasn't, and that just some sort of potential was unlocked in me that I didn't know about before. But in reality, I think it was the whole feeling of competition, the idea of if I can do my best here and outmatch the others. That was always in my head, pretty much always. And that sort of died down now, and my grades have kept up, which is pretty fantastic. But that was the year when I stepped up my game, and it was noticeable. It was noticeable. My friends noticed it. My parents noticed it. Freshman year, Yale University wasn't an option. If I had kept in that same vein, I would be applying to radically different schools than I am now. That I didn't want to be now, but because I've been rejected, I'll have to anyhow. So sophomore year, I sort of stepped up my game, and I really want to thank my friends for being there with me. I feel like them being there coinciding with my Windows computer breaking, sort of led me to step up, because on my Windows computer I was very much distracted with modding and with gaming in general, Star Wars Battlefront, and I didn't have that whole notion of games as art. I wasn't as much in that. And then trying to game from a Mac and sort of being in this chase and fighting, not even fighting, but wanting games to be on the Mac and wanting them so much sort of moved me into that idea of games as art, because I didn't play them as much, but I wanted to. And so to be a part of this whole gaming, I guess, direction, society, community, I took up a different role, more so of a bystander who understands games and who tries to make the most of them from the limited knowledge that I have. So my friends and my parents, their support and help coinciding with my computer breaking probably turned me into who I am today, which is kind of crazy that such a pivotal difference, such a radical difference happened to such. I don't even have a conclusion to draw about it, but it's just kind of amazing to me personally. And what's also great is that for not modding, I was never ostracized or never cast away. I was part of a modding community called Game Toast, and, well, I still am, and I had stopped modding, and so had a lot of other people, and it wasn't a big deal. Nobody was like, "What? You're not modding, leave, what are you doing here?" And I had never created amazing mods to begin with. I look back and I kind of cringe. They look nice, and some of them were alright, but they were never fantastic. I never took advantage of the Zero Engine and all that Pandemic had given me to make the most out of Star Wars Battlefront 2. I had made very, very superficial mods. And I look back and I'm sort of upset with past me, and I feel like if I were given a computer now and told to get to modding, I would have created something radically different and significantly better. But I stopped modding, and nobody at Game Toast was like, "Go away, we don't want you anymore." There was a very existing sense of community, so definitely want to thank those people. Some of them I know on Facebook, some of them I communicate with on a day-to-day basis. They help me out on my videos. Game Toast was where I first aired my videos to an extent. My first supporters were all from Game Toast. If you look into my older videos, comments are generally from the same people, and those people are my friends in real life and friends of mine from Game Toast, from Star Wars Battlefront. And the fact that there was sort of like this supporting community behind me was fantastic. Junior year, I felt like a boss. It's weird. I don't even know how to describe it, honestly, but I guess I became kind of arrogant, where I thought that I have to like air out my intelligence, my newfound intelligence. Like, I'm a self-made man and I've got to show the world. And I was pretty much doing that in any way, and I had something of a little renaissance going on in art and Like, I painted symbolic paintings, and I was all for uniqueness and genuineness, and I was finding amazing music that I loved, and I listened to Pink Floyd, and I was being very pseudo-intellectual, and I feel like that still permeates my character to this day. I mean, just listen to my commentary in general. A lot of it is me trying to sound smart and then not being able to do that properly. So junior year was pretty awesome, and with the exception of a few minor health issues in terms of my lung collapsing, everything was pretty cool. Things went pretty damn well. Moreover, I think around, like, I guess it would be the beginning of junior year, I started doing Minecraft videos. And that really got a bunch of my friends together and into this sort of community that we are now. It's hard to say community when talking about friends, because you don't go to school and hang out with a community. You go to school and hang out with friends. So my friends and I had sort of created this group of our own. You know, we were Minecraft players. It very much brought us together, even those of us that weren't in classes together. And luckily for us, a lot of us were in classes together, in many, many classes together, which was very awesome. So we had sort of like, Minecraft very much brought us together, and my commentary was very often the source of a lot of jokes, and I was poked fun at occasionally for it, and it's much more accepted now. It's kind of funny how much the reaction has changed. I found friends on Twitter from my school, kids I don't really talk to, who have been like, "Oh, that's a pretty cool video you put out. You should play Skyblock, or you should play such and such," from people I never would have expected, and that's pretty exciting. Anyhow, my train of thought just disappeared entirely. Right. Junior year, I started doing commentary because I wanted to kind of prove to myself that I could begin a long-term project. And back then, I didn't even envision it as such. I saw that X had created a Minecraft Let's Play. I had briefly looked at CoStar's stuff, and I wasn't immediately drawn to it, to be entirely honest. I liked X a lot more, and he was my only LPer that I was familiar with and really liked watching back then. And so I started my Let's Play with the intention of having sort of this long-term project that I could build and create and make my own entirely. Because I had done a lot of dreaming and visualizing and conceptualizing of different things, and then my computer broke. My old Windows computer broke. And I couldn't make mods, and I couldn't game as much. And I was sort of stuck in this weird lapse where I couldn't act out on the things that I conceptualized and visualized, which was frustrating. It was kind of annoying. Eventually, though, I decided to start, and my friends laughed. They counted how many times I said in my videos, and in, I believe, my second video I say, birds singing, grass, sun shining, and I'm about to go storm a dungeon or something to that extent. They thought that was uproarious, but I sort of kept through it, and lots of support from them. And all the while, my grades were sort of going up, and I was very confident in myself, even through senior year, and my teachers were fantastic. I always hear these horrible stories about high school from different people, and they're like, "Oh, my teachers were bad," and this and that. I loved pretty much every single one of my teachers. They were fantastic people. And I would have them again any year, whenever. Even if they didn't teach me so much, they were good people, and I could look beyond their inability to teach in certain instances. And that happened very rarely, because I liked the teachers themselves. They were good people, and like, I would hang out with them on a weekend, maybe. Actually, that might be a stretch, but they were pretty cool. Anyhow, so senior year rolled about, and I had to start doing applications for college and universities, and I filled out the Yale application, did a lot of that. I've been mentioning video games in my sort of career on YouTube to a lot of interviewees from different colleges, and I thought me getting into Yale was so fantastic, because I had battled for 3 years in high school to get out of this slump, and with the support of friends, in real life, friends from the internet, audience members, teachers, parents, I had battled to an extent where I thought like I was invincible. I thought I was super fantastic. Then I got that slight like punch to the face where I started losing subscribers. And that was really, really depressing for me. Not like clinical depression or anything, but it was upsetting, and I thought about it and I dwelled on it a lot. And it was frustrating. It was very, very annoying because I had had this long period of growth where I just got subscribers by the 10s and the 15s, and I'd look on my page in the morning, I'd be like, oh, 1,250, and then in an hour I'd look and I'd have like 1,254, and I'd be like, damn. Cha-ching! And I mean, applying to Yale was so exciting. So many people had kind of like had expectations for me. My parents, my family, friends of mine with whom I had battled to sort of get myself onto this level. I know a colleague of my mom's, a coworker of hers who had graduated from Yale, was actually, he gave me his paperweight and pen from work as sort of like a gift from one Yaley to the other, and that was so exciting. And I felt like there were such expectations mounting for me, and then getting the rejection was just anticlimactic and upsetting, like this end to a long battle that sort of everything fizzled out, and it was like you just battled for what? And I pretty much felt like garbage. And I really, if anything, if you get anything from this video, because I can't really, I don't know, I have a terrible problem with coming to conclusions and having some sort of evidence to back those and anything like that. But if you get anything from this video, it's that I'm very thankful for the people who have been around me for the past 3 and 4 years, and for my entire life basically, who have pushed me onto this spot where I am right now. Because you get where you're supposed to go, which is what several of my friends told me yesterday. You go where you're supposed to go. And had my computer not broken, who knows where I would have been right now. Had my parents not pushed me, who knows where I would have been. Had I not started my YouTube thing, who knows where I would have been. And that's actually scary. I've thought about that on occasion. And that's a scary thought, because I have no idea where I'd be. On one of my college essays I wrote, that I've traversed dangerous but often beautiful and thought-provoking worlds with friends I've never even met. And that very much holds true. And what kind of person would I be if I hadn't spoken to the people from Russia, the people from Sweden, the people from China, had I never interacted with Notch or these other game developers and this new sort of like means of social interaction online? Who knows who I would have been if I hadn't exposed myself to new opinions and hadn't exposed other people to new opinions. And so I don't know. Right now, after this commentary, I feel like I've gotten myself into this point of frenzy where I want to say that regardless of me getting in or not getting into Yale, I'll end up somewhere where I'll be happy. And if I keep up with my commentary, I should be happy regardless. So basically, thanks for being there with me for past year or so. In a week it'll be a year since I've released my first Minecraft video. First video goes way, way back to my clan days in Star Wars Battlefront 2. But I've for the most part forgotten about that, tried to leave that alone, because that was a very confusing period. I'm never a good combative gamer. As much as I want to be, I'm not. So thanks a lot for the support. Thanks for being around. Thanks for being civil. Honestly, one last thing I want to stress. It frustrates me to no end when I'm trying to get out an idea and everyone starts raging and trolling and being obnoxious. And you guys who have held there with me have had the patience to sort of civilly contact me and say, you know what, you might not be entirely right here. Keep being civil, because you lose credibility the minute you start freaking out and flipping out. That's when you become your credibility is gone. At some point, you can be mad to yourself. You can share your anger with other people. But if you're in an argument and you become loud and rage-filled and just angry, you lose credibility. So thank you for being civil with me, those of you who disagree with me and still stay subscribed, because I have no intention of burning bridges with anyone in my audience, because from my audience members, I can only learn. I can only learn things from you guys. You can't steal knowledge from me. I can give you knowledge, and you can give me the same. It's a mutually beneficial relationship. So thank you to those of you guys who have stayed around and who have supported me, to those of you who have gifted me games and in that sense donated. I don't have a donation counter set up. Probably won't for a while. I mean, 1 year, 2,000 subscribers, I'd be asking a bit too much. Anyhow, thank you very much for watching. I hope you like the footage. Sorry, next week I will have a read farm going on. Thank you very much for watching, and have a nice day.